Hi everyone and welcome to NCHC Between the Boards. I'm your host, Greg Ankers. On tonight's show, we'll take a look back at the first 2 weekends to open the season across the NCHC. We'll also meet the new leader in Colorado Springs as Coach Mike Haviland takes over for the Colorado College Tigers in his first season behind the bench. We'll also take a look at the players of the week from the past couple weeks, the polls, standings, and much more. That's all ahead on tonight's show. But before we get to all of that, we start with our Spotlight series. It happened on Friday, October 10th and Saturday, October 11th when 7th-ranked St. Cloud State played host to 6th-ranked Colgate to open the 2014-2015 college hockey season. Husky fans fired up in this one, but Colgate would strike first. Middle of the first, Mike Borkowski skating in, finds Joe Wilson wide open on the back door for an easy 1-0 Colgate lead. Couple minutes later, more from the Raiders. Evan Peterson out in front with 3 defenders around him makes it 2-0 Raiders. Second period, though, St. Cloud would finally strike back. Joey Bennick out in front on the power play, cuts the deficit in half for a 2-1 deficit. More St. Cloud chances later. Tim Daly right in front. Can't get it past the goaltender. We stay 2-1. Later, more shots fired. The St. Cloud opportunity from the point gets denied. Jimmy Murray trying to clean it up in front. He can't get it to go. We'd stay 2-1 into the third. Colgate's Kyle Bond, though, from the circle, beats the goaltender there for a 3-1 Colgate lead. They would go on to win. 3-1 is the final in this one. St. Cloud State outshoots Colgate 34-23 in the loss on the power play. Colgate gets blanked 0 for 3. St. Cloud State with the 1 power play goal finished 1 for 5. Huskies looking to bounce back on Saturday night, and they would do so in a hurry. In the first, Jimmy Murray feeding Jody Brodzinski streaking in for the 1-0 St. Cloud lead just 8 minutes in. Later, Brodzinski, the good teammate he is, setting up Patrick Russell for the one-timer. That one doesn't go, though. We stay 1-0. Still in the first, though, more from the Huskies. Joey Bennick down to Brodzinski. His second effort on the power play is good, and it's 2-0 St. Cloud State. Same score in the second. Blake Winiski skating in. That shot gets denied. It's still a 2-0 game into the third, and the Brodzinski show would continue. On the steal here, Brodzinski skating in all alone. Goes 5-hole to beat the goaltender, so 22 thinks. The refs wave it off, but they would review this one and come out and declare goal for Brodzinski. St. Cloud State up 3-0 at that point. They go on to get the split with the 3-1 win on Saturday night. Brodzinski, as you saw with the hat trick. Charlie Lindgren solid in net in the bounce-back effort. Lindgren had 23 saves on Saturday night as St. Cloud and Colgate earn the split in this top 10 showdown. A great way to get the college hockey season started there in St. Cloud. When we come back on NCHC Between the Boards, we'll continue looking at highlights from the weekend of October 10th and 11th, and we'll start in Grand Forks in a home-and-home series as North Dakota takes on Bemidji State. Welcome back to the show. While following up a run to the Frozen Four last year, North Dakota enters the season ranked number 2 in the nation. They started their season with a bitter foe just down the road on Highway 2, taking on Bemidji State in a home-and-home series starting in Grand Forks. This one would not start well for North Dakota. Short-handed, middle of the first. No problem for Brendan Harms. Fires one past Zane McIntyre from the circle. It's 1-0 Bemidji. It would get worse in the second. Sam Rendell with the even-strength goal here to make it 4-0 Bemidji. UND would change goaltenders, but just 15 seconds later, Charlie O'Connor makes it 5-0 Beavers. North Dakota would not get on the board until the third. Nick Schmaltz on the power play puts that one in out in front. Bemidji State, though, takes the opener. 5-1 the final. Saturday night, we shift over to Bemidji. In the first, Colton St. Clair, even strength, buries in the rebound here. North Dakota off to a better start, up 1-0 there. In the second, Steph Patton coming out of the penalty box on a short-handed opportunity, takes the feed from Troy Stetcher, and it's 2-0 North Dakota. In the third, Miles Fitzgerald would get Bemidji on the board to cut the deficit to 2-1, but North Dakota goes on to win this one to salvage a split. 2-1 is the final. Minnesota Duluth started their season at the annual Icebreaker Tournament in South Bend, Indiana, hosted by Notre Dame. The Bulldogs no tougher way to start the year than facing the #1 ranked team in the nation as they fall to Minnesota 4-3 in the opener. They trailed this one 3-0 in the second, made it close in the third. Dominic Toninato scored 2 goals for Minnesota Duluth in the losing effort. The next day, Minnesota Duluth took on host Notre Dame and would win this one 3-0 the final. Toninato scored his 3rd goal of the weekend. Tony Camoranesi and Alex Iafallo also scored for the Bulldogs. Matt McNeely bounced back with 23 saves in the shutout. Back to action on the ice. Battle of the Mavericks in Omaha, with Omaha hosting Minnesota State out of the WCHA, down 1-0 in the first. Not for long, Luke Snuggerud with the goal there to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. 4 minutes after that, on the power play, Jake Gensel sitting out in front buries home the rebound for a 2-1 Omaha lead. 4 minutes into the second, Austin Ortega adds to the lead on the power play, beats the goalie there for a 3-1 Omaha lead. Then in the third, Dominic Zombo puts the icing on the cake with the empty netter. Omaha takes game 1 of the series 5-3, the final. Looking for the same result on Saturday. Things looking good early on in the first for Omaha. Jake Randolph on the backside beats the goalie there for a 1-0 Omaha lead. 6 minutes after that, Jake Gensel going to get back into the act here. With 3 defenders around him, he finds the soft spot and the goal for a 2-0 Omaha lead. In the second, though, here come the Mavericks from Mankato. Bryce Gervais gets it started on the wraparound there to cut the deficit in half. Then Zach Palmquist on the power play. He beats the goalie for a 2-2 game. Then 5 minutes later, Brad McClure, even strength out in front. Minnesota State earns the split with a 4-2 final. Expectations are high this year for Enrico Blasi's group in Miami, as his club is picked number 2 in the preseason poll in the NCHC. They opened their season with a home-and-home series against in-state rival Bowling Green. In the opener from Bowling Green, Ohio, Miami falls 2-3. Ben Politis and Riley Barber scored for Miami in the losing effort. The series would shift back to Miami. Scoreless in the first, Louis Belpedio with the goal here to make it 1-0 Miami. Later in the first, Bowling Green answers back. Kevin Dufour on the power play, right out in front, buries in the rebound for a 1-all game. In the second, though, back comes Miami. Sean Corrali with 2 goals, first on the power play, then later in the second, Corrali again, this one even strength out in front to make it 3-1 Redhawks. In the third, Bowling Green trying to come back. Mark Friedman with the goal here, but Miami hangs on for the victory. 3-2 is the final as they earn the split. To Colorado Springs, CC hosting Alabama Huntsville. In the first, Aaron Harstead puts the Tigers on the board for a 1-0 lead. Middle of the period, Timo Kivahalma with the even strength goal to make it 2-0 CC. Alabama Huntsville would try to answer back in the second. Jeff Vanderloop with the even strength goal here to tie things up at 2 goals apiece. But in the third, CC would get the lead for good. Cody Bradley from the circle here, no problem. CC takes the opener. 3-2 would be the final. Same 2 teams on Saturday, and CC would get things started early. In the first, Hunter Fegis beats the goalie one-on-one there for a 1-0 CC lead. Late in the first closing seconds, Alex Roos with the goal and a 2-0 Tigers advantage. Then in the second, Alabama Huntsville coming back. Brandon Carlson with the goal here to tie things up at 3 goals apiece. But Peter Stojkovic would make sure that CC would get the sweep. He buries it there for a 4-3 Colorado College win. Western Michigan heading to Buffalo, New York to take on Canisius. They fall in the opener 4-2 the final. Will Kessel and Kenny Morrison scored goals for the Broncos in the losing effort. Western Michigan, though, looking to bounce back on Saturday. In the first, Sheldon Dries gets the Broncos on the board first for a 1-0 advantage. In the second, Dries again, this one on the power play. He will beat the goaltender right there on the one-timer down low for a 2-0 Broncos lead. Later in the second, Tyler Weissman on the power play gets Canisius on the board to cut the deficit in half. In the third, though, Michael Rebery coming in alone. He beats the goalie 5-hole there for a 3-1 advantage. Then Kenny Morrison on the power play puts Western Michigan out in front 4-1 with the one-timer here from up top. 4-1 would be the final. Coming up next on the show, we'll look back at highlights from a week ago on October 16th and 17th as 4 teams begin conference play across the NCHC. That and more is next. You're watching NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back to the show. 4 teams opened conference play last weekend, including a contrast of styles between the young, high-powered offense of Omaha taking on the defensive-minded group of Western Michigan in Kalamazoo.
Omaha would get the party started in this one just over 6 minutes in. Justin Parizak puts the Mavs out in front 1-0. Western Michigan would answer back, though moments later, Michael Rebry with the goal here to tie things up at 1 apiece. Down 3-1 in the second. Neil Goff from the point makes it a 3-2 game. Later, though, in the second, Ian Brady, short-handed, sneaks one in for Omaha as they take the opener in this one, winning by a final of 5-2. Saturday night would see Frank Slabowski making his presence felt for Western Michigan, coming up here with not 1, not 2, but 3 big saves to keep the game scoreless, but it wouldn't stay scoreless for long. Omaha's Jake Gensel gets the goal for Omaha for a 1-0 lead. Then in the second, it's Dominic Zombo burying the puck there for a 2-0 UNO lead, and Zombo would add the empty netter in the third as Omaha gets the sweep, winning Saturday 3-0. North Dakota flexing its muscle on the road at Colorado College in the first. Michael Parks with a shot. Mark McMillan is there to push in the rebound for a 1-0 UND lead. Just a minute later, Brendan O'Donnell gets the goal in front from Connor Gorder in the corner. Then, closing moments of the first period here, Troy Stetcher with the shot. Mark McMillan tips it in. North Dakota goes up 3-0. They win the opener. 3-1 is the final. North Dakota would jump out early on Saturday as well. Just under 6 minutes in, Michael Parks going to feed McMillan, part of a 7-point weekend for Mac as UND takes a 1-0 lead. It was 4-0 in the second. Cody Bradley gets CC on the board, but they're down 4-1, and it would get worse in the third. McMillan cleans it up here. Another goal for Mac as UND goes on to sweep, winning Saturday night. 7-2 is the final. Minnesota State and Minnesota Duluth playing a home-and-home, starting off in Duluth in the second. Some great teamwork here, shorthanded by Adam Kraus and Dominic Toninato. Toninato going to come back into the picture and clean it up for a 2-1 deficit. Minnesota State leading at that point. The Mavericks would extend their lead later. Teddy Bluger with the beautiful backhand here, putting Minnesota State out in front 3-1. Minnesota State would add to it a couple minutes later. Brad McClure on the power play. He cleans it up in front for a 4-1 advantage. Minnesota Duluth trying to come back in this one. It's going to be Adam Kraus snapping the wrister home here to make it 4-3. This one would go to overtime, tied at 4 in OT. A blast from the point. Zab Knutson gets the goal as MSU. Minnesota State takes the opener in this one in a wild one, 5-4 the final in OT. The teams would shift to Mankato for the series finale. Duluth wins this one 6-2 thanks to 2 goals from Jarrett Thomas.
Denver fans had to be patient with the Pioneers off on opening weekend of hockey play, but the Pioneers got things going in week 2, hosting an RPI team that finished second at the Icebreaker Invitational in their opening weekend. Jim Montgomery starting his second season behind the bench for Denver.
He would like what he would see in this one in the second of a scoreless game. Quentin Shore clanks one off the post and in for a 1-0 Denver lead. 3 minutes later, Zach LaRaza on the power play gets the tip in from Nolan Zajac, who had the initial shot. Denver takes game 1, 3-0 the final. On Saturday night, Pio's going for the sweep in the first. Trevor Moore on the power play, working the give and go here. He's on the finishing end. Denver takes the 1-0 lead. It would be 3-0 into the second. 3 minutes in, LaRaza comes calling again, going top shelf as DU takes a 4-0 advantage. They go on to win 4-1 and get the sweep over RPI. Finally, a home-and-home, Miami visiting Big Ten foe Ohio State in the first. Riley Barber getting the Redhawks on the board first on the power play as he puts that one in for a 1-0 Miami lead. It'd be 2-0 into the second, middle of the period. Alex Weidman on the power play. He's on the right side of that one for a 3-0 Miami lead. Then in the third, Blake Coleman behind the net sneaks one past the goaltender. Miami takes the opener in this one. 5-1 would be the final. The two teams would shift back to Oxford on Saturday, and this one would see Ohio State jump out to the early lead. Just 5 minutes in, Anthony Greco on the power play makes it 1-0 Buckeyes, but back comes Miami in the second. Louis Belpedio through traffic gets the goal here to tie things up at 1 goal apiece, and Alex Weidman would add to it just a couple minutes later with the sweet wraparound rebound coming up here as he sweeps in for the goal. Miami takes the series finale, winning this one. 2-1 is the final.
Coming up next, there's a new leader in town in Colorado Springs as Mike Haviland has taken over as head coach of the Colorado College Tigers. We'll take a look at the new style that he's bringing to the forefront next on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back to the show. Following a last-place finish in the NCHC a year ago, the Colorado College hockey program is heading in a new direction under Coach Mike Haviland. Haviland comes in with 20-plus years of coaching experience, including the NCAA, through the minors, and was even an assistant coach with the Chicago Blackhawks when they won the Stanley Cup back in 2010. Here's Haviland on what he's changing at CC.
It's a completely new system, and it's a whole new culture and of way of thinking. I'm a pro guy. We're going to run it the pro way and on and off the ice, and from nutrition to the way we, our video is conducted, how we do everything. I don't know any other way, and we've talked about that from day one with the guys, and we said that the pace of practices to our video and to how we conduct ourselves is going to be the pro mentality.
I think I'm really excited about this team. I think we have a lot of components that are going to work well together, and I think with the new direction that the coach is taking us in, it's going to all come together nicely. And the coach he runs us like a pro organization, and so it's exciting for us and exciting for people who are trying to go to the next level too. He has all the connections, so it's good stuff.
The standard will be set high for me. I've been successful, in a lot of places, and I don't know any other way. Again, it's similar to what I said to you earlier. I think that, your team takes on your personality, your team takes on your, what you believe in and how, your enthusiasm, and I think that they're going to see each and every day that, I think winning's a habit, and I believe that if you believe that and you give your best effort, you're going to give yourself a chance to win each and every day. The bar is set high, and they know that. I'm not a guy who's coming in that says I just want to be a 500 coach here. We want to win, and we want to win now, and we're going to expect that each and every day out of our staff and out of them.
This isn't an intro year. This is a year that we just take it up a notch, and that's what he's expecting from us, and that's what we expect from him. Is that it's not an intro year. We're expecting to get in right away and make an impact.
Coach Haviland got his career started off on the right foot at CC 2 weeks ago when they opened the season against Alabama Huntsville and got a sweep. Coach Haviland and the Tigers are now 2-2 on the season as they get ready for next weekend's action. Speaking of next weekend's play, we will look ahead to the upcoming games, plus check in on the Players of the Week from the NCHC. That and much more is next. You're watching NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back. Let's get you caught up on some news and notes from around the league, starting with the NCHC Bauer Players of the Week. We'll look back at October 6th. Offensive Player of the Week goes to Dominic Toninato of Minnesota Duluth for his 4-point effort at the Icebreaker. That included a second-place finish for the Bulldogs. He also had a +3 rating over the weekend. Defensively, Peter Stojkovic of CC had a +3 rating in a sweep versus Alabama Huntsville on the opening weekend. Rookie Player of the Week honors started off with Louis Belpedio of Miami. He scored his first career goal versus Bowling Green. Goaltending honors went to Matt McNeely of Minnesota Duluth, who notched his second career shutout With a win over Notre Dame, he had 23 saves in the shutout. For the week of October 13th, a pair of North Dakotans appear here. Offensively, it goes to Mark McMillan, who scored 5 goals and had 7 points in a sweep over CC. Defensively, Paul Ledoux led UND with a career-high 4 points in a 2-goal, 2-assist effort Saturday at CC. Rookie of the week goes to Danton Hennon of Denver. He tallied 3 assists in a sweep over RPI. And goaltender Ryan Massa owns the honors here with a 2-0 weekend against Western Michigan, including a .965 save percentage and a 1.00 goals allowed average. Checking in on the polls, the USCHO.com poll has North Dakota at number 3 this week. St. Cloud State, Miami, and Denver check in at 9, 10, and 11. Minnesota Duluth is at number 19 this week. In the USA Today, USA Hockey Magazine poll, North Dakota again number 3 here with 1 first-place vote included. St. Cloud State is number 9, followed by Miami at number 10. Denver checks in at number 13. The 5 NCHC teams in the 2 polls tie Hockey East for the most ranked teams. That's 5 in the USCHO poll, and 4 in the USA Today poll ties the Hockey East for the most ranked teams this week. The NCHC standings look like this after 1 weekend of conference action with 4 teams involved. North Dakota and Omaha sit at the top after sweeps last weekend. Denver and Minnesota Duluth compete in conference play this weekend. Speaking of this weekend, some other games you'll want to pay attention to include a top 5 showdown between number 5 Providence at number 3 North Dakota. Number 9 St. Cloud State travels to number 2 Union. Colorado College heads out east for a pair against Boston College and New Hampshire, while Alaska visits Western Michigan and St. Lawrence visits Miami. We want to remind you our next show will be on Friday, November 7th at 6:30 right here on Midco Sports Network. We thank you for tuning in for all the action this week and look forward to showing you highlights from the last 2 weeks next time on the show. Thanks for watching NCHC Between the Boards.